Okay, this is the second video for Section 1, Chapter 1 of your trigonometry book, dealing with angles and various vocabulary terms related to angles and angle pairs. First off, we generally measure angles in degrees. There is another way that we will discuss later. Okay, but the first way we learn to measure angles is always in degrees. And a degree is defined as being 1/360th of a rotation. And I occasionally do get asked this question, it's like, why are there 360 degrees in one rotation? Well, the answer to that is pretty simple. 360 is divisible by a lot of whole numbers. It is divisible by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10, 12, 15, etc. So the idea is if we break our rotation up into 360 pieces, notice how 360 is divisible by the first 6 counting numbers, which makes it easy to do division when we're talking about a rotation. So 360 is the number that was chosen because of how many numbers divide 360 evenly, because of how many factors 360 has. Now, in geometry, we specifically study 3 types of angles. There are actually 5. We're going to deal with 4 in this particular book. We have the 3 that are definitely ones we know before, which are acute angles, which is a measure of less than 90 degrees. We have right angles, which have a measure of exactly 90 degrees. We have obtuse angles, which measure between 90 degrees and 180 degrees. And here in trigonometry, we are also going to refer to straight angles, which would be they measure exactly 180 degrees. So we have those 4 angle types that we're going to be dealing with in this class: acute, obtuse, right, and straight. The 5th angle, which you don't necessarily need to know right now, but if you're interested, is known as a reflex angle. And that would be any angle that is greater than 180 degrees going up to 360. Above that, we would not refer to those angles. We would refer to what's called their coterminal angles. We'll get to that. Okay, 2 more terms that we should know from geometry are complementary angles and supplementary angles, which is our next screen. Okay, complementary angles, and we have a picture of it drawn up here, are 2 angles which add up to 90 degrees. So if we look in the picture, we have a clearly indicated right angle symbol, which is that box, and we have 2 angles marked angle 1 and angle 2. So we could say that the measure of angle 1 plus the measure of angle 2 equals 90 degrees. Down below we have supplementary angles, which we also referred to in geometry as a linear pair, which are 2 angles which add up to 180 degrees. So here in this picture we have that the measure of angle 3 plus the measure of angle 4 equals 180 degrees. So the big key here is we're going to have problems where we are told your angles are complementary or supplementary, and then they'll tell you information and you have to figure out the other angle. Okay? So let's do some examples. And these are going to be really, really simple examples because, well, that's kind of the way that this works. We should know how to do this already, so we shouldn't need to spend very much time on it. For an angle measuring 31 degrees, find A, its complement, and B, its supplement. So when we see the word complement, we need to think, okay, so we're looking for an angle plus 31 degrees that equals 90, because complement means 90. So we would say, okay, 90 minus 31 means that its complement is 59 degrees. Same thing for B, except we're looking for a supplement. So let's say y plus 31 equals 180, because supplement means 180. Okay? So again, we're going to do it's a one-step equation. We would subtract 31 from each side. 180 minus 31 would give us a 149 degree angle for the supplement. Okay, now more commonly we're going to see pictures like here on number 1 and number 2. I will point out that number 1 should have a right angle marking, indicating that these are complementary angles. Okay, so then we would say, okay, well, 3x is one of the angles, plus 6x, which is the other angle. Those are complementary angles, so they add up to 90 degrees. 3x plus 6x would be 9x equals 90. And then we would divide by 9. And we would get x equals 10. Now we need to be careful, and this is something that this book does a lot, and it's something you need to be familiar with because some of you are going to be taking the SAT, the ACT, tests like that. This problem is not done. We found x, but that's not what the question asked for. We need to make sure we're answering the question that was asked. It says, find the measure of each angle. So we have a 3x angle, which is really 3 times 10, or 30 degrees. And we have a 6x angle, which is 6 times 10, or 60 degrees. So our two angles are a 30 degree angle and a 60 degree angle. All right, in number 2, it does not indicate any sort of relationship, but we do have here a straight line, which indicates that these two are a linear pair or are supplementary. So we're going to take a very similar approach. We're going to say, okay, we have a 6x degree angle and a 4x degree angle. Those are a linear pair. They're supplementary, so they add to 180. Add those together, we get 10x equals 180. And then we divide by 10, which gives us x equals 18. So we take that 18 and we plug it in for each of these. 4 times 18 would be a 72 degree angle. And 6 times 18 would be a 108 degree angle. Now, I'm often asked, well, how do I know if I did it right? Well, simply put, if the problem gives you two angles that are supplementary, your answers should add to 180. 72 plus 108 is 180. All right, we will have more on the next video, but that's it for this one.